Good morning or good evening, wherever you are. Dr. Ruth Anderson here with Enlightened World Network. I'm here with my beautiful soul sister, Teri Angel. On Sunday mornings for a meditation a day, we go into our silent meditation and we invite you to join us. What we're going to do, Teri's going to play some music here for about 25 minutes, and Teri and I go behind scenes and we meditate together. And then we come back on and we share with you what we experienced. So please settle in. Join us. Join us in this meditation. Teri, are you ready to share? Okay, great. Here we go. And we're back. Thank you. Thank you for staying with us. So, Teri, that was fascinating. I would like to stay back in there myself and experience more of that. So we were spending time meditating about our soul's journey, our soul's purpose, our life's calling, and started out with wondering, is there really such a thing as a mistake in life? Is there really such a thing as not fulfilling your soul's purpose from day one? Teri, you want to talk about that for just a minute?
Yeah, we talked about how no matter what you're doing, it's perfect for you. And when we get out of the comparison mode, when we look at around us, supposedly on the outside of us, and we're seeing other people who are at the top of their game, people who are stepping up and speaking out and leading, then sometimes we shrink and we say, why can't I be like that? But that's the comparison. That's the competition. That's that mentality of not being enough. And I believe what really turns all that around is finding our own worth, finding our worthiness, knowing that there really isn't a greater than or a lesser than. That's just something in the human experience that we decide to have this way of measuring something that's bigger or smaller. Because when we think about it, we can't have big without having small. So when we see those people that are in their path, they're doing what they came here to do, we put them up there as big, don't we? We look at them as bigger than life, and some of them, and we look and say, well, why can't I be like that? And my thought is we all can be like that. We all are leaders, but it's our sense of self-worth, self-esteem that's either going to pivot us into that position as a leader or keep us down into the follower, the sheep, as we say. So that's my thought on it, Ruth. I just really think that we all have that potential. Whatever it is, we're all perfect just as we are.
And I'm thinking there's folks saying, but wait, I'm in this abusive relationship. This isn't perfect. I have to get out of this. This isn't perfect. And the words that came to me while we were doing this was, whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are is just perfect, if you unless you don't think it is. And then change it. And then whoever you are and whatever you are and wherever you are will be just perfect until you need to change it again. So we are all here for our own learning. And I know sometimes folks think that, I think we sit in judgment an awful lot about how we're living our life and about how others are living their life. And, when you think, oh, well, someone wasted their life, right? I don't know that that's ours to call. I don't know that that's our judgment to make. They may not have become who you thought they should have become. But what if they were actually doing everything that they were supposed to be doing? I don't know. It was just sort of an interesting thought.
Yeah, and it's potential. And do we all come here with the same potential? And from what I understand, from all the reading and praying and meditating that I've done, we all do have the same potential.
But not necessarily to end up being the same finished product.
We're going to be the perfection of our finished product.
Right. There we go. I like that. Yep. Let me see. What else did we talk about? I was reminded of a phrase that I had heard last night. When the game is over, the king and the pawn go back into the same box. And it says it was an Italian proverb. I don't know if that's true. But then Teri and I were focusing on that, and we thought, yeah, they do. The king and the pawn, the person who's out there, the leaders in life, and the rest of us all return to the same place. But then we thought, well, wait, everybody in their own game of life is their own king, and is the queen, and is the pawn, and is the rooks. And then the question came up, well, how come some people can't own their kingness? And again, there was that comparison piece to others and that judgment about, am I who I think I should be? But we are all kings in our own game.
Yeah. It's owning it. That's the key. Owning that we are a king or queen or whatever you want to be, whatever you choose to be. Just owning that. And I feel there has to be a pivotal moment, Ruth, when we come to that decision time of, am I going to own it? Or am I too afraid to step up and say, yes, I am that? Because the potential is there, the opportunity is there, and it's what we perceive as holding us back that's limiting us. We don't have limits other than what we put on ourselves. And I know, I hear that argument, there's people in the abusive relationships, there's people that don't have, they're in the lack. But some of our greatest leaders were in that same place. Some of our greatest leaders were abused. Some of them didn't have a dime. And now they're multimillionaires. So it's not a matter of what your situation is. It's what do you want it to be? Where do you want it to go? What's the potential that you can see for you? Not for them, not for anybody else, but you.
Well, and there's also folks with significant health issues too. They're thinking, if I just didn't have this illness or disability, then I'd really be out there doing. What do you say about that?
What came to my mind was Saint Teresa of Avila. She was bedridden most of her life, but she's one of the most famous saints there is, and had that heart to just inspire and to help others. So, there's many stories like that. There's many people that weren't marathon runners, that didn't have that kind of health, but had limits and, many kinds of diseases, but they chose to be in their greatness instead of accepting the limits of what was presented to them.
Well, and I was just reminded of Viktor Frankl, who was in the Holocaust, and he survived it. Goosebumps. And his message afterwards was, sometimes the only thing you can control is your attitude about something. So even in the Holocaust, he controlled his attitude.
Right. Yeah, there are so many stories. Nichiren, that developed Nichiren Buddhism. He did that while he was in prison. He wrote out everything while he was imprisoned for his beliefs. And, there's so many. Gandhi, that also didn't have his freedom, but look at what he was able to accomplish. So, yeah, the limit is inside of us. It's not on the outside.
Right. Teri, a point that you brought up earlier was about that pivotal moment and really owning it. And you had said earlier with me, when a person goes from just being the potential to the actions of doing.
Yes, I believe we all have a call to action moment. I think that's where everything changes. And I know that I went through that last year. you're aware that I'm on this journey and I heard the call. I had been hearing the call, but the timing had to be divine timing. And I think that's the other key is when you hear that call to action, really listen. Is it for me to step up right now, or is there something else I need to accomplish before I step out into my greatness? But that call to action comes for all of us. I fully believe that with everything I am, that we all come here for a path, for a purpose. It may not be to be a Gandhi, but it's the Gandhi of you. It's what you're going to achieve in your lifetime. And we all have that call. We all have the knowingness, but to go from just the knowingness to the doing of it, that's the pivotal time. That's when we own who we are and what we are and why we're here. So many people come to ask, what's my path? What am I supposed to be doing? We all have the answers inside. When we go inside and we hear that nudge to step up, to do something, that's your call to action.
Well, and sometimes what you're supposed to be doing is nothing. It's being in that space of just receiving and learning and growing so you're then ready when the time comes to really step out and become and do. Sometimes it looks like doing nothing, and you know what? That's okay. That's
Yes.
it's all good. It's all perfect, as we
It's
would
all
say.
good because every role in life, no matter what it is, like we said, whether it's the Gandhis or the great leaders, or it's the support people that are there, just the followers. Jesus had his followers. They weren't all a Jesus, but they were just as important, and he viewed them as just as important as himself. And he even told us with his words, what I do, you can do also and greater than that. So it doesn't matter if you're that person that everybody knows your name. If you're supporting, if you're doing your role, then you are just as important. Everybody is as important as each other. There is no greater than or lesser than. Whatever you're doing, if you're owning that and that is your path, that's your greatness.
And Terry, I'm reminded that sometimes people come into the world and the world's not ready for what they're bringing to the table. And some of our artists, my father, for one, with his research, the world wasn't ready for what they brought in. But you know what? They didn't stop bringing it in because
Right.
others weren't ready. They brought it in. It might sit on the shelf. It might finally be, I'm trying to remember who was it, Van Gogh? I'm trying to remember who was, the townspeople thought he was crazy and hated his work, but now you can't pay for it. It's timing. It is all divine timing. And if you feel like you're one of those people that the world's not ready for your work, put it out there, create it. You don't live your life based on what you think other people can handle. You live your life based on your personal journey of what you're here to put out. And it might be after you're gone, after you've transitioned, people will find that and it'll be perfect when they do. So don't stop. Don't stop being you, please.
I love those words, Ruth. So true. We never know. What we put out there might be just what somebody else needs to hear to inspire them to become a great leader or a great motivator. So, yeah, absolutely. Keep writing those journals, keep putting out the messages of love. It's what our world needs.
And you may not ever see the fruition of that. And I think that has to somehow be okay. I think the gratification comes in from the fruition of putting out what you feel so inspired to put out. That's the fruition.
Leaving a legacy.
Right, right. So interesting conversation today. Didn't see that coming before we before we got started. So Teri, thank you. Thank you for being here. Any last words before we let folks go?
Stay in your heart. That's my message always, is to stay in your heart. Once we get out of our heart, we start thinking with that ego mind that does the comparison and the competition and the lack. But if you stay in your heart, you always know you're guided by your higher self, guided by source energy, the creator. So just always, if you're finding yourself doubting or being insecure, go back into your heart and know your magnificence. I love you all so much.
Thank you, Teri. That's beautiful. And I want to thank my dad, who's right here with me. Um, the ones that we love and lose, they really aren't gone, folks. I can tell you, my dad's right here with me. So, so much love to each and every one of you. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and we'll see you here later on Enlightened World Network. Take good care, and God bless.